look at the young man at Sandy Hook, and he had some problems throughout his life that he had under doctor's care. His mother knew about it, and that tragedy should never ever have happened. But it did. And the thing is, he never went through a background check. He stole his mother's guns.
He did.
Yeah. How do you prevent that? You look at Thurston, stole his folks' guns. You look, I think the guy down in Arizona bought his gun.
The mall shooter in
The mall shooter stole the guns,
Right.
I think.
Yeah.
The shooter in the theater in Colorado, I think he bought his.
I think the Arizona shooter in Tucson should have bought his too. The phrase, at least the discussion that I've been involved with is, if someone who has been diagnosed as being a danger to themselves and others in the past, that would be the red flag. And I do know that the reason it's so difficult is the slippery slope. It's the same issue we're talking about in terms of communication with law enforcement officers in crisis situations. At what point do you say that someone is possibly mentally unstable?
So you've mentioned the youth that have chosen to steal their parents' guns, or they could have gotten their grandparents or their neighbors or whatever.
Right.
So what are your views as far as, so parents, if their child has a mental problem, they shouldn't be allowed to have guns either, to perhaps protect and defend themselves even?
My view is that they will have liability. I think people should have liability if they do not safeguard their weapons in a responsible way.
Yeah, it's a very,
From a
very.
17-year-old?
You have to have a responsibility. You have to have responsibility and accountability.
Yeah.
Someone has to be accountable for that to happen. And unfortunately, the lady at Sandy Hook paid for it very dearly.
You know, one thing this is spurred us to do, again in a bipartisan way, is we're making the largest investment in mental health in the state of Oregon in this current budget than we ever have. And I think that because so much has happened in around the country and here in our state, and I think that's been just a calling card for us. The access to mental health services is really unacceptable, particularly for kids who are undergoing mental health problems. There's a waiting list in most areas of the state to get services. It's simply something that's untenable. So there was a major effort to put additional dollars into the mental health systems, and also do things like the National Association of Mental Illness, NAMI, came to us with this proposal on housing. So many people that are street people who are wrestling with mental challenges, just getting them some kind of stable housing for a period of time can help them stabilize, basically. And so we're doing a pilot project for about $10 million on basically how do you get people off the street into stable housing and give them a chance to access services. How do you do that in a way that makes sense and actually works for people? So we're making that effort.
There's one thing that I would like to add to that is that, you know, if you could save and help some people, that's money well spent. God only knows that we lose a lot of money with good intentions that never happen. And that's worse at the federal level, gets lesser at the state level, lesser at the county, and lesser at the city level. But I would like to see us embark upon a 10% reserve on all departments in the state of Oregon. We did that in the city of Medford. They're fiscally sound as can be, and they have a reserve of up to 10% in each department. Instead of, and what I mean by that is you legitimize it. Because today we have departments that I've been told, and Peter, I'm sure you have too, that spends money toward the end of a year, of a fiscal year, because they're afraid of losing it. And I've heard of all new computers, even though they didn't need them, and so on and so forth. Now, I don't know if those are exaggerated or not, because I haven't personally seen it myself, but that's the way it was in the military. I mean, you talk about abuse of money. How many have been in the military in here? Okay, you know what I'm talking about. The end of the quarter, I mean, everyone in my squadron had a brand new set of tools. No one needed them, but we had brand new tools every quarter.
So Sal drives me crazy on this. I've been the budget chair since December of 2008 when the economy was going like this and the state budget's going like this. So I spent 5 years cutting the hell out of budgets. And Sal's over there going, you know what? You should have a 10% reserve. And I'm like, yeah, I don't get a 10% reserve.
Yeah, you can.
Where?
The city of Medford
Where?
can. And our budget's gone up, by the way, in the
It
last
has.
10 years. It's gone up. It hasn't gone down. So.
Yes.